Gauthier
Schmitz.
and Schmitz.
Okay.
So yes,
Perfect.
I do. Yes, I do. Thank you
Great. Just giving you one practice run.
for asking. Gauthier and Schmitz. Okay, I got it.
You do.
Okay, I think we're ready. If you are, Scott.
Yep, let's go.
All right. Oh, we're good to go. I will count us down and we'll jump in. He said good to go. I thought that meant okay. Anyway,
You do the counting.
Yes. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to I Am Home, the Home Life Best Life podcast. I'm Tyler Weisskopf, joined by my co-host, who's community services legendary. She even gives 4 hours a month to this podcast. It's Becca Sudbeck.
Hi, Tyler.
Hi. And our other co-host, she puts the art in Blessed Heart. It's Hilary Walthamap.
Hey.
Hi, Hilary. This month, our theme is gratitude. Today's episode is all about creative ways to volunteer, just getting into volunteering and making that like a part of your life. I know a lot of folks want to give back more, and we want to give them the opportunity to think about it and have some great ideas for doing it. We've got 2 great guests to dig into that topic with today. But before we get to them, let me tell you why we're even doing this podcast. And that's because NFM is more than just your everything home store. We're in the business of improving lifestyles because your home life should be your best life. And you can learn more at nfm.com. Okay, so I'm so thrilled for our 2 guests. We've got Michael Gauthier and Mandy Schmitz. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, of course. Allow me to introduce you both. Michael, you're a lead in delivery ops. You've been with NFM for 3 years.
It'll be 4 in the spring.
No kidding.
Yeah.
4
Time
years.
flies.
Yeah. It feels like just yesterday when I met you. So I think that's awesome. I've got a fun fact here. You travel for celestial events.
Oh, yeah.
What is
Okay,
that?
so the most recent one, I actually went down to Texas. I visited our store down there.
Yeah.
The eclipse that happened in April.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Yeah.
spent the whole week down there. I got ready for it, had the glasses. Oh, it was great. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's
So
awesome.
The one before that, I went down and I spent a week in Belize for the eclipse that happened down there.
So
Wow.
cool.
That's great. Yeah.
2028 in Australia. If you guys want to come
Oh,
with.
You
wow.
planning
Okay.
it already?
100%.
Yes. I love it.
Amazing.
I love it.
Amazing.
This is a very fun fact. Okay, Mandy, you're no stranger to the podcast. People may recognize you as our doggo expert. You've been with NFM 16
Yeah.
years.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Seems like just yesterday.
You're currently our customer service general manager. You've been in many other places though
Mhm.
throughout the organization.
Yes.
So I think that's fantastic. And I didn't know this about you before. You grew up in Southern California?
Yep.
Wow.
21 years there until
21
I came here
years?
without ever visiting.
Wow.
That's what you do when you're 21.
Wow.
Right?
And then the cost of living keeps you here.
Uh-huh.
Well, fantastic. I am so thrilled again to talk to you both. You're beyond your very interesting backgrounds. You're both top volunteer coordinators, committee members, and are hugely passionate about giving back. So you're the perfect people to talk to about this topic of volunteering and getting into it. And I wonder if we can start with like what sparked your passion for volunteering. Why don't we start with you, Michael?
Yeah, absolutely. So, with my family, we've always been volunteer oriented. So it's something that kind of was built into just how I was raised.
Yeah.
As far as volunteering more as an individual, I used to work with adults with disabilities,
Okay.
and I got very active in different organizations that advocated for them, not only on the national, but the local level. So because of that, I was exposed to this whole new world of just ways I could help my community, ways I could, be a voice for people that didn't necessarily have them.
Yeah.
And, one door opens several others, and it's just amazing. I've met so many friends, so many people that just inspire like passions within me, and just can show you a whole world that you didn't even know was out there.
Yeah. It's fantastic. I love that. Mandy, what about you?
I feel like mine's going to be so singular. I'm just a crazy dog lady, like you said. And so I wanted to be around more of them. I do volunteer with more things than animals, but 95% of it is dogs. But growing up, that was just who I was. I loved dogs. I didn't know it would grow to be such a crazy obsession. But I love giving back where I can, and that's with our furry four-legged or less friends.
Yeah. Well, I think that's such a great point, though. In general, just the idea that like part of this is something that you should enjoy. Like, I mean, it like it doesn't have to be a chore if you love doing it, right? And like part of it is like you grew up loving it, and you experienced it, and you just love that like feeling that you get of giving back. And part of it is like, man, dogs are great, so like I just want to be around them. So I feel that.
Cats too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cats are fine. Yeah, they're there. So, any like surprising or memorable experiences you've had volunteering?
Man, you know, I think for me, volunteering here at Nebraska Furniture Mart last year, we did a Night to Shine, and that is it's an event where all the volunteers, you know, you dress up, it's, you know, suits, dresses, and it is a social night for people with disabilities.
Oh, wow.
And to be able to connect with them and kind of, you know, you're not there to, you know, be a caretaker, and then you're there to be a friend, you know. So you show them, you know, it's essentially like an after prom, you know. So there's like basketball, and there's all, you know, all these others like makeup stations and things. It's absolutely amazing. And to be able to make those kind of connections, for me, it's just incredible. And like the gentleman that I hung out with, like we're friends on Instagram now. He's way cooler than me. And like, you know, he's posts all the time. He's a big Chiefs fan. So, but yeah, it was an amazing night, and what a way to uplift those people.
Yeah, 100%. Wow, fantastic example. Andy, what about you?
I will say in terms of volunteering with NFM, when we did a lot of the cleanup after the tornadoes that hit, we were specifically in Elkhorn. And it was just that reality check of how precious life is and how quickly it can be taken away. And then on a more personal note, for me, outside of work, this is so stupid, and I teared up thinking about it. Like, I was with a shelter dog that was super sick and super underweight. It was just the sweetest thing. And it was right after my dog passed away, and I'm going to tear up. I already feeling it. But I was literally just like crying, cuddling. I'm not going to cry.
Well, I'm going to cry because I don't like dogs. Okay. Well, I think I'd love to know a little bit about like what keeps you motivated to continue volunteering. I think some people, like, maybe they start it and they might fall off, you know, especially during like when life gets busy, and like it's hard to like continue to find, it feels like, the time to devote to it. Like, what about either it's your personality or what, but I'm curious, like, where does the motivation come from, Mandy? Or if you're recovered enough.
I am. No tears fell, just so we're clear. But for me, it is a 24/7 thing now. Like, I foster now that I've lost my one dog, reactive dog. But so it is literally all day, every day, in my home, outside of home, everything. But it brings me never-ending joy, and it's something that I almost wish I just had more time. Stinking work getting in the way of my volunteering, even though we do it here too, so I shouldn't complain too much.
You know, I think for me, it's more about connection. You know, what I'm passionate about is so much like underserved populations, and, you know, people that either have, you know, abuse in their background, or, you know, mental illness, you know, things like that. And to be able to be in those environments and help lift people up. And it really shows how similar we are as opposed to how separate we are. And some of the experiences that I've had, especially with some of these, you know, at-risk populations, you know, have helped me with, you know, my personal life, with friends, with staff that have, you know, are having issues or going through something, and being able to have those tools in my toolbox, and bringing people together and helping them that way. I mean, it's just, it's so important to me, and it makes me feel like a whole human being.
I love how you said about finding ways to be that you're similar, connected versus your differences. That's really thought provoking.
And I think that's one of the things that you discover, when you are in these worlds, because, people really aren't all that different. I mean, and it's all the other stuff that gets in the way, and, with my work with people with disabilities, there's a tendency to think of them as the other sometimes, which is really unfortunate. But at the same time, I mean, they're going to laugh at the same jokes as you. Everybody likes mac and cheese, It's,
right.
So there's a lot of things to kind of bring people together.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so important to me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. So what recommendations do you have for people that are looking to find maybe like the right organization or cause to volunteer for?
What do you find truly inspiring? Like, what causes do you care about? Mine, obviously, dogs. But a lot of people, that you identify with something personal, whether it be something that you've experienced in life or somebody that has experienced something, that you can often find a connection with that. And you can start there and obviously begin researching online, talking to people to see if they have any recommendations of places to volunteer.
I think social groups, things like that. I think people have a misconception that, in order to be in a volunteer, to serve in that way, it has to be some big grandiose cause. But there's so many different clubs, sports, there's a lot of like ecological things that you could be a part of, but whatever hobby interest you have, there's some way to either donate, your time, your expertise, your money, whatever you may have at your resource. It doesn't have to be, things that save the world. It could just be saving, a part of the world that you care about.
Exactly. Yeah. Super smart. And one of the things that we talk about too is like finding a way to like turn your skills into volunteering. I'm curious if you guys have suggestions for people that may like, hey, I'm really good at this thing, and connecting that to a volunteer organization and how you might do that effectively.
There's a lot of different options, really. Like, even if you're just like a fast typer, you don't even have to be a fast typer. If you can type, how about that? You can do a lot of data entry for a lot of these organizations. When it comes to like, if you like writing, you can help with PR related things, writing press releases, grant writing. That's a huge one that a lot of people do not possess the skill set for, me included. Photography.
And it's so important. Though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
just
huge.
like at the end of the day, like these organizations need money to keep going.
Yes,
Mhm.
they're
How they get
literally
funding.
nonprofits. But you can be graphic design skills. That's huge. You can help by making websites, promotional information, just promotional items that they can sell and make some sort of
T-shirts
funds
and
from.
hats
Yes.
and,
Photography, defaulting to animals, like you need to get good photos of animals to get them adopted. But there's so many different things that every organization needs pictures for. So if you're a photographer, that's a great skill that can be utilized at basically any organization.
I'll double down on that. But I think professional skills. People are always people that can speak on podcasts. Like you might not think that's a great skill, but not everybody is as gifted as you guys are at just having conversations.
Michael, stop.
He paid me money before. But I think one of the things that's been really nice here is working in the logistics department. A lot of these organizations are people just people that don't necessarily have that skill. I mean, we work with a pretty extensive logistics network. So being able to kind of say, hey, have you ever thought about this? Or maybe if we did this instead, so, in that way, it's not just the volunteer hours, but also that expertise, so I think, using that as a springboard to get involved is.
Yeah. This gets down to the idea of being like a little creative with it too, because sometimes it's not like they have a posting. Hey, I need someone to
sign up for this.
Yeah. So like, do you just say, hey, I'm interested in this organization, and here's some things that I might be able to offer, or like, how would you suggest like reaching out to these places to do something like that?
Most places do have volunteer coordinators,
Yeah.
whether they're employed or volunteers themselves.
Mhm.
And you having those conversations, whether that be via email or in person, oftentimes you sign up, submit an application or something like that to volunteer somewhere. But once you get beyond like an initial orientation, being able to have those discussions, I can say for Nebraska Humane Society, they have a new volunteer manager, and he is constantly like trying to come up with new ideas. And I'm always looking for opportunities, especially for our NFM volunteers.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what can you utilize groups for? Let's get creative here and see, like, a lot of the issues sometimes is they don't have enough people to do it. Well, NFM, I can get 20 plus people there to help do something, kick something out for you that maybe other volunteers wouldn't be interested in doing.
Mhm.
Yeah. And you can also look, there's always unique opportunities too. So, if you know where to look there, there's postings. I know a lot of like local festivals and things like that. They're always looking for volunteers, So, if it's something that you're already interested in, dig a little deeper, go to their website. You may be able to find something. I know the Symphony, the Orpheum, all of them operate with volunteer labor. So, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
It's one of those things too, like once you like send the email or like make the connection, you're like, that was so easy. Why didn't I do that sooner? Like they're not going to turn away any help. They generally are appreciative of anything you can do. And it's one of those things you're like, that was so simple. Why was I overthinking that?
And people have like anxiety about it. And I'm not sure, I don't have the right skill set or something like that. And it's everybody can contribute something.
They'll find a
to
place.
any
you.
organization. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they'll probably take any help they can get.
Yep.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I think some of your suggestions lead a little bit to my next question here, which is about like those meaningful, creative ways to volunteer from home or virtually. Like we listed some of those options of like maybe you're taking photos and you're editing those photos and sending them.
Mhm.
Like, are there like officialized ways to volunteer from home, or how does that typically work in your guys' experiences?
I don't do a ton of volunteering from
either,
home, but I think, along the lines is what you said, as far as those professional expertise, I know I have a brother-in-law that does a lot of web design, so he's incorporated that skill for, some of the groups that he's involved with. So you could, work that way, but unfortunately I don't have a ton of experience with.
I know there's like really some basic things. I know there's probably a lot more basic things, but like making greeting cards or something like that for 6 children in the hospital, writing letters or being a pen pal for somebody in the military or a veteran even. And you can help plan fundraising events. That's huge. And a lot of that can be done from home. Because I think that's a big thing is a lot of people are afraid to take the lead on something. Well, you don't even have to physically take the lead. If you can plan it on home and give somebody the next steps, that's really
Delegation.
helpful. Yep.
Mhm.
I do know that there are some different things. I saw actually online that there's something called Be My Eyes. It connects blind individuals with sighted volunteers for visual assistance through live video calls. So basically, like to read a food label, you can navigate them around a city or something like that. Anybody who has sight could easily do that.
Yeah.
And Wi-Fi, should I say?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
But there's a lot of different things, and even not even time wise, but well, I mean, it's all time to some extent, but there's different apps like, that you can walk and they'll donate X amount of money to the charity of your choice, or scan your receipts and they'll donate to the charity of your choice and stuff like that. There's a lot of small things that add up.
Yeah, great point. I know that there's like several like just volunteer hub organization website type things that you can go to and like search and refine by certain skill sets and things like that. And I think home and virtual option is like a growing one, because sometimes like, if you want it to become a habit, like making it easy to do is certainly helpful. And it'd be great if all of us had the enthusiasm and like the energy of a Mandy and a Michael, but like some of us aren't that level. So
I've seen you out there.
Oh,
You got a level.
thank you. Thanks.
I'll also say I don't even know why I didn't think about this, because I literally do it besides fostering. I'm an adoption coordinator
Mhm.
for rescue. I literally do all of it from home.
Yeah.
Reviewing applications, processing them, calling vets, personal references and stuff, all things that can be done from home. I don't know why that didn't cross my mind.
Yeah. That's a great example.
Mhm. Well, I think this isn't necessarily volunteering, but from my experiences getting involved with a rescue is just like education and awareness
Mhm.
around these organizations and why they need help. Like the breed specific rescue I'm with, oftentimes the perception is like they'll reject other dogs that aren't this breed, or, like all this misinformation on like rescues in general. And it's amazing how many people just don't know why or the purpose, or so just even conversations, awareness, sharing your experiences, I think does so much to
Yes, it
like
does.
encourage
Absolutely.
other people to volunteer and take away some of that anxiety or some of the stigma or wrong perceptions around it too.
Yeah. I know we're getting close to the end of our time, and I wonder if we can just like end on like, what do you think? Why do you think it's important to volunteer year round as opposed to just this time of year?
Because the need never disappears.
Yeah, that's true.
There's always people to help. There's always animals to save. I mean, it doesn't go away. And
Yeah.
and my experiences, especially working in like soup kitchens and places for unhoused populations, is they have no problem getting people around Thanksgiving and Christmas.
They need it
Mhm.
the other times,
It's
probably.
the other times where they really need the help.
Mhm.
So, it's great. And by no means am I discouraging somebody from,
Right.
going and helping out around this time. But, think about in March, there's always
Maybe you
times.
start it now, but
Yeah.
like figure out a way to like automate it, make it a thing that happens on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Going
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Manny, what about you?
I think for me, honestly, I look at like a lot of the organizations that I volunteer with. I like free sign up for things and have a schedule and ensure it happens, because once I'm committed, I'm committed.
Yeah.
I know that's not everybody that feels that way, and sometimes that's overcommitting yourself,
Sure.
to which I might do. But it is important year round, and it's easy sometimes to lose steam and to lose that motivation. And there's such thing as compassion fatigue.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes taking a break is helpful too.
Exactly.
That's okay. Yeah.
I
definitely.
will say though, kind of, one of the ways that I try to combat that is I will bring family, I will bring friends, you know what I mean? And make it so it's not just a me thing.
Mhm.
It's a,
Like at NFM, especially, we were talking about this before I
Yeah.
jumped on the mic. Like, there's a team of people that help you guys coordinate around this, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we have 4 pillars that, we work with to kind of represent Nebraska Furniture Mart as a company. So, Mary Cephas, she runs our community neighborhood improvement group. We've got Mandy here with our animal welfare. John Kundra, he does food insecurity.
Yeah.
And then we have Katie Chandler as well. She works with the Civil Rights and Social Action Group.
Yeah.
So that's, a great way to kind of get involved there. Also, our ERGs, our employee resource groups are fantastic ways to kind of get to know people and to find out about some of these opportunities.
100%. Well, thank you for being here. I think much like I'm assuming your 40 hours of VTO, we're out of time. So again, it's been a pleasure. I also want to thank my co-hosts Becca and Hilary, our co-producers Scott and Ann. And finally, I want to thank you listeners. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, review, do all the things wherever you listen. Then head over to nfm.com/podcast, where you can learn more about us, send us questions. That's going to do it for us for now. But last thing, as always, remember, home is what you make it.
Thank you, Jenna.